In this laugh out loud episode, Bertide and myself spill the beans on Caribbean versus American siblings rivalries. Ever wonder who usually die first in the Caribbean family? I'm not really sure why we're talking about that tonight, but we're talking about it. Or how the oldest child is like having a backstage pass to adulthood. Facts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And get ready for some insight and outrageous stories and a dash of cultural flair.
Zach Basse. Welcome to the Unfiltered Limin podcast. Join us as we reflect on our personal journeys and share our insights, experiences, and stories. From food to music, language to custom, we explore what it means to straddle two cultures and find a sense of belonging in both. Whether you're a first generation Caribbean American, a seasoned veteran, or simply curious about the rich tapestry of cultures that make up the Caribbean diaspora, this podcast is for you. We are your hosts, Bertide, the Haitian sensation.
Lisa, the Dominica diva.
No one's talking, so let's get unfiltered.
In this first segment, we're going to talk about the birthright or the birth order. So I'm the eldest to the middle child to the youngest. And if you're an only child, we're going to talk about it all on here. Caribbean versus American. And how everybody falls in line or falls out of line or falls by the wayside.
Yes. And remember, being the oldest ain't easy because you're like the guinea pig on trial.
What? You're like the third adult in the situation.
You're the practice child.
Oh,
You're
yeah, you're the
the
practice child.
let's see if we can keep you alive long enough for us to know whether or not we can have more. Because if we could keep you alive, fed, and you've survived the first 6 months, then we could do this again.
Sometimes they don't even wait that long, yo. I don't even know.
Oh
So
my
let's talk
goodness.
about the
Mm-hmm.
traits of the different order of children, what tendency. I did some research online and this is just kind of like someone else's opinion, but we're gonna roll with it tonight, okay?
Yeah.
So the first child is usually a natural leader, high achiever, organized, on time, know it all, bossy, responsible, adult pleaser, obeys the rules. Let's go to the middle child. They're very special.
Oh
Flexible,
Lord.
easygoing, social peacemakers, independent, may feel like life is unfair.
Mm.
Strong negotiator, generous, and secretive.
Okay.
Okay. The
Interesting.
last child, they're very special. They're the risk takers. They're
Mm-hmm.
outgoing, they're creative, they're self centered. Can I emphasize self centered? Financially irresponsible because they got
Mm.
the older siblings.
Mm.
Competitive, bored easily, likes to be pampered, sense of humor. They usually do have a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
The only child, close to parents, self-controlled, leader, mature, dependable, demanding, unforgiving, private, and sensitive. So those are
Okay.
usually the traits of the
Birth
siblings
order.
birth
Okay.
order. Yeah.
So there is some truth to that. Just like with everything, if you believe or don't believe in horoscope, astrology, there's certain things that we do. They do studies and they find the commonalities between certain. So we're not saying that if you're the oldest child, all of that character stuff that Lisa just said is true, or the middle child, or the youngest. But for the most part, in a case study, they have found that these traits exist in these birth orders. So, again, disclaimer, this is not facts. This is not what it is we're telling you that you are. This is our perspective, right, from the Caribbean versus our American culture and stuff like that. Do you believe that these traits exist whether or not you're Caribbean? It's just a birth order, or is there different traits you believe if you're a Caribbean? Would there be a difference in the Caribbean birth order versus an American birth order, or do you feel like this is general for just the birth order, whether it doesn't matter?
First of all, I think these personality traits are probably 90% accurate. I don't know what B's talking about, but I'm here to tell you they're about 90% accurate in my expertise, okay? In my experience, sorry. Excuse me. I'm not going to even say allegedly, okay? That seems to be the word of
See,
2024. Allegedly.
I was trying to be, where I was keeping it balanced because I didn't want nobody to come after us.
Girl, they can come if they want. Then
Disclaimer:
I have
if you come, we're not gonna answer. So don't come knocking. We're not answering.
nobody's gonna be there. Nobody's gonna be
Nobody
there.
gonna be there.
Um, so I saw another post that gave a similar, firstborn, middleborn. So the firstborn, again, responsible, motivated, conscientious, conscientious, consci, another freaking word we can't pronounce. That's fine. Controlling, cautious, reliable, perfectionist,
Mm,
achiever, leader, and bossy. That thing is there again, bossy. That thing is
okay.
there. I believe that's true. When you the oldest and you got other siblings, you ain't got no choice but to be bossy. I'm sorry. It's just what it
Yes.
is.
You just gotta keep things in
Middle born.
order. You're dependent because
Hell
the thing
yeah.
about it is, guess what? If you don't, who gets the blame and the trouble at the end of the day? I'm
You.
not getting my behind whooped because of y'all. So yes, I'm gonna be bossy, and at the end of the day, because I've experienced that, getting
Yeah.
spanking from my sibling when wasn't even in the room. But
Yep.
because I'm the
Yep.
oldest and I wasn't on my watch because I was, at 7, 8, 9, I was supposed to be on this watch with my younger sibling, that I got my behind whooped because they did something. They got their hair cut. Somebody cut their hair and I wasn't even present. Parents get home, adults get home, and I'm getting in trouble. And I'm like, wait a minute, I was even, what? How am I getting in
You're
trouble?
the responsible one. You're a
So
responsible
yeah,
one.
I could see that. I could see that.
You're the responsible one. So middleborn. Feels left out. I do feel that. You know what? I feel like when I meet people and based on their personality, sometimes I can tell that they're a middle child. Cause middle child, they just, you ever notice you meet people and they always talking, center of attention. Oh, a
Oh.
lot of times they're a middle child because when you're in the household, the parents are concentrating on the firstborn, right? Because that's their first, and they're concentrating on the last one that the last one don't kill themselves. So nobody pays
Mhm.
attention to the middle child. So they're always like yearning for attention.
Mhm.
Girl, sidebar. Anyway, peacemakers always feel left out, social, adaptable, people pleaser, can be rebellious, they can,
Mhm.
independent, and go between. They go between,
Yes,
they
they are
flip
flexo.
flop, they go
Yeah.
between.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last born. Okay, last born. Um uncomplicated, manipulative. Let's talk about it. The last ones can be yeah, I gotta put this phone down.
I think it's because
Manipulative.
of they're able to negotiate, and then because they have so many layers, they're negotiators, so they're able to manipulate situation because they've had so many things to be able to get what they want. They've learned from, oh, they did that, I'm not gonna do that. You did, so by the time it gets to them, it's been watered down that they can manipulate you because they've seen you getting in trouble. They've seen you, so they know how to go. Oh, okay, you
Hmm.
did this. That got you that result. I'm
Hmm.
gonna go this way so I can get a different
Yeah.
result.
Yeah. Girl, I don't got time for it. Seeks attention.
Mhm.
Self-centered. That word self-centered has come up again for the last born. I do agree. I think the last borns, they are self-centered. with a capital S and a capital C. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Fun, social, charming, outgoing. That's true. They are.
Mhm.
Only child. Seeks approval.
Yeah,
Mm,
I can see that.
sensitive, leader, confident, center of attention, mature at their age. Well, I do see that they're matured at their age because they're the only one. Responsible and perfectionist. That's interesting.
Okay, I can see that
So
because
overall, yeah.
because I could see the only child because you're not only the first one, right? So you have a little bit
Mhm.
of the characteristics there of being the oldest, but then you don't have any other siblings under you. So you have all
Mhm.
that. So basically, everything falls on you. So you don't even have a chance to have anything else to compare and share.
Mhm.
It's you and your parents.
Yep.
So your parents never let another side of them, like they don't share, they don't give attention to anything else but you. So that could be a dangerous
Mhm.
territory, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you don't have, unless you have cousins and people, because I do believe that that could happen. You could, but you develop a sense of the maturing early because you're hanging out with your parents.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know
you're
what I
the third
mean? Like,
adult in the house. You're the third
yes.
adult in the house. You so are. Because not
So
only that you're listening to them and figuring out how to pay the bills with them, you got to
mhm.
watch the other siblings. You're in charge. So yeah, you're the third adult.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
which siblings usually would you say would die first in the Caribbean? Even though it's morbid, but
Now that I don't know the answer to. That one I don't
I got my
I don't
money
know.
on the rebellious middle child, living forever, defying all odds.
The middle child lives forever?
Yes, because they
Probably,
don't
yeah.
have the pressure, right?
Probably.
The oldest child,
No, they don't.
you stressing. The oldest child, you stressing about everything because you're the third adult. So your parents' responsibility, and then when your parents if you're a responsible oldest child, because not every oldest child, not all birth order. Some people choose to not take their responsibility of being the oldest and pass it on and live it for the middle child to deal with or other people to deal with. So when your parents get older, whatever, you're the oldest child, you got to not only worry about your siblings, but now you got to worry about your eldest parent. You know what I mean? As they get older
Mhm.
and things like that. And sometimes that pressure, your siblings, they do go through it, but sometimes the younger one, they might not understand all that goes. And again, that's if you're responsible oldest
Mhm.
child. But
Yeah.
yeah, the oldest sibling, you struggle with the pressure to set a good example, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In the Caribbean, I think just overall, I don't think it's an American versus Caribbean. I think it's just a stigma overall that you're supposed to be responsible. If you have siblings, you're supposed to set an example. If you're the oldest cousin, also in your Caribbean household, you're the example. You're watching your younger siblings when there's a fete, when there's a party. They also put that
Yep.
responsibility on you in the Caribbean. I'm not sure in the American culture if that's the same, but I know in the Caribbean, if you're the eldest cousins, you are responsible not only for your siblings now when the families is together, but now your cousins, making
Yep.
sure you it's like a whole thing, your tribe. And sometimes it's a good thing because you do learn different personalities, you do learn responsibilities. So I think that's what's unique about us, is because by the time we get to the age where we're starting our families, or we want to start a family, or when we go into the real world and get jobs and stuff like that, we've dealt with so many personalities that it's easy for us to be able to be like, it helps us get acclimated faster with the different personalities, the different things that we've faced with our parents, seen with our parents, and how we also set up our future, right? Because you set your mind for things either you do or don't want. Do I want
Mhm.
to have kids? Do I not want to have kids? Do I want to be married? Do I
Mhm.
not want to be married? How many kids do I want? That
Mhm.
perspective when you're the oldest child. It sets a lot of things you don't realize. Is when you're the oldest child, you see your parents struggle or their success or their challenges, the opportunities, all of that because you're there with them
Yeah.
until you get into that space. So if you're a first generation oldest child, in coming to America, you also have the responsibility of if your parents don't speak English, you're the translator.
Yeah. Mhm.
You're not only that, the pressure, because I understand it, is the pressure of now if your parents are not assimilated, they may work in the country, but there's certain things now it falls on you to now be this
Mhm.
American voice in your household as a first generation. So you're translating things. If there's laws, happening, if there's different things that affects that household, you are now technically not that you're surpassing your parents, but you have a knowledge that they don't have. So now you become a whole different type of oldest
Mhm.
that you're not enjoying everything that you should. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
that in itself, and then comes into let you not have any middle siblings that you got to deal with. Let's talk about the middle
Woo.
children, the mystique of the middle child. I don't know.
Yeah. Ugh, it's like being in the calm eye of a hurricane with those middle ones. Cause I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just don't know which way they're gonna go.
Yeah.
They are, oh, Lord help us. Them middle ones, yo. They gonna fight the good
Oh,
fight though. They gonna fight the good fight. If something ain't fair, they gonna voice their opinions.
yeah.
Oh, the people pleasing, and they're just, oh my God, they're so special.
They
The
are.
older one, the storm, the younger is the aftermath, but the middle child, boy, they are the
Mm-hmm.
calm of the storm. They just enjoy the breeze though. They
Yeah.
just,
And I do
and
believe, yeah, and I believe that they're peacemakers because they are in the middle, right?
yeah.
Because they're not, so they're trying to, it also depends on the age gap, right? So sometimes if
Mhm.
you, let's say, like my sister has four, and the two oldest are closer in age and
Um,
the two youngest and closer in age, right? So the middle one, well, not the oldest
is
daughter,
it
but the
truly a
third.
middle though? When you have four, is it truly a middle one?
The two should be considered, but the age makes it where it's a little bit
Oh,
separate. So
okay.
the third child that my sister has, she's a little bit older than the youngest, but then she wants to be with the two oldest. It's a little bit because she's not the oldest daughter, right? And that I think also
Okay.
plays a difference. It's like, okay, let's say she has four, so my nephew's the oldest, then you have an older daughter. So right? So even
Mhm.
though like my oldest niece is a middle child, but she's the oldest daughter. So I feel like that
Got
also
it.
changes the dynamic
Yeah.
of, the siblings'
Yeah.
birth order if you're a boy versus
Yeah.
a girl. And then so then it becomes she's not, then that one is the middle. So it's just funny because then it's kind of like you can tell in the
Yeah.
age when she's maturing, she wants to hit.
Mhm.
It's like she's caught in between. But
Yeah.
I do have to say, she beats at the drums. I mean, she beats at the drum. What
Walks
is
to the
it?
She walks to the beat of her own drum.
She does. She does. See,
Mhm.
that's my Caribbean. I'm trying to say. She does. She
Mhm.
walks in the beat of her own drum. But when she's in, she's in. When she's out. And sometimes it's funny because
Mhm.
when sometimes they come visit for the summer, my son is like, "Oh my gosh, I need to spend time with her." So what I realized though, with it's unique about my sister's kids and all of that is they make an effort to make sure she's not left out.
Oh,
Does
that's
that make
good.
sense?
That's good.
Because you know how
Yeah.
they say middle children sometimes can be
Yeah.
loners. So they make
Yeah.
sure, and my sister, I have to say, give her props for
Yeah.
like she makes sure that, hey, let me, trying to involve each one of them so they don't
Yeah.
feel. Because if you don't, you will
Yeah.
not forget, but you will overlook the middle child
The
and things
middle
like
one.
that.
Yeah. I think a lot of time that's how they feel. They feel like they are forgotten. They really are forgotten and
Yep.
overlooked. So they always feel like they gotta plead their case. They gotta be the
Mm-hmm.
center, not the center of attention, but they're trying to grab attention
Scream,
because it's like,
yeah.
hey, what about
Agree. So
that
they're.
movie? Sorry, that movie Home Alone. When they left the kid at home, was he the middle child?
I thought he was the baby.
Oh, he was the baby. Okay, never mind.
I don't. I thought he was, but don't get me. D-Liming crew, put it in the comment. What birth order was Home Alone? Kevin. What was
McCormick. Yeah,
Kevin?
Kevin.
What was Kevin's
Mm-hmm.
birth order? I want to say like he was the baby, the way his mom was treating him, and how everybody was shooting him away. But I could be wrong
Yeah.
because again,
Mm-hmm.
remember the vacation they had cousins and stuff like that, and I really
Yeah.
don't remember how many kids they all had in that.
Yeah, I don't remember
Memory.
either. But
Yes.
another thing too with the middle child, they always like Switzerland, right? They're considered
Yeah.
like Switzerland because they're
Right.
neutral and they're peacemakers. So they're
Mm-hmm.
definitely like Switzerland. They're definitely sandwiched between overachievers and the baby of the family. They're a
Yeah.
sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone needs to give a middle. If you know a middle child, give them a hug. I think they need a hug.
Yes. All day, every day.
Yeah, if you know a middle child today,
We
give them a
all need
hug.
a hug. Yes.
I
Special
mean, listen,
delivery. Here's your hug
w-
from Unfiltered Liming.
come in, right? Bring it in, bring it in,
Bring
bring it
it
in.
in, bring it in. Oh
Oh
my
my
goodness.
God.
But yeah, middle children, they float in the middle. They're Switzerland
Mm-hmm.
peacemaker. They learn the
Mm-hmm.
art of diplomacy, of
Mm-hmm.
negotiation just because they have to. They have to fight for certain things. So, definitely they face the challenge of just being in the middle and not
Mm-hmm.
being heard and not being forgotten. But
Yeah.
then comes the wise youngest child.
The legend of the youngest
The
sibling.
legend, the wisdom. Being the baby of a family, I think, does have its perks. A baby or of a family, or you have a sibling that is a baby of a family, you notice the difference
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
their feelings are gonna be
Yeah.
more. How would I say? It's gonna be cuddled more. I feel like they're
Coddled. Yeah.
feeling, yeah, they're gonna be cuddled a little bit more. They're gonna be, oh, it's okay. They do something and it's okay. They're the baby. Let your behind being the oldest in the middle child, and you think you're gonna be able to get away with that stuff. Look at here now. Look, and that
Yeah.
is for both culture. That is Caribbean versus American. I don't care which culture you're. The baby gets special privileges because they're the baby.
They
They're gonna
do.
be spoiled. They're gonna be
Yes.
how. That's the thing. Let's talk about this,
They
because.
carefree. Yep.
But the other thing too that I realized within again that I realized is nobody's gonna challenge them to be different.
No.
Who they are, who their attitude are, ain't
Mm-hmm.
nobody challenge that. All you hear is, "Oh, they're the
Nope.
baby. It's okay." But you
Yep.
being the oldest can't get away with having an
No.
attitude. Sometimes can't be.
Nope.
You are challenged to do better, be
Yep.
better,
Be
be
better.
an example, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Be that perfection mindset. That's what your job is. That's the
Mm-hmm.
youngest.
No.
They
The
could be
youngest? No, no, don't nobody say
rotten.
nothing to the youngest. Yeah, nobody says nothing to them.
They could be rotten. They could be
Mm-hmm.
self centered. They could be
Mm-hmm.
selfish. They could be whatever. And
All
guess
of that.
what?
Nobody says
Everybody's
nothing.
kissing their behind. Nobody is trying to. That's the thing. Nobody's trying to hurt their feelings.
No,
Nobody's
yep. They don't want
trying
to
to
hurt their
make.
feelings.
And then
Yep.
when people ask them, then they're like, oh, well, when you're like, well, that's not fair as the oldest. If you ask about this, then they'll be like, well, that's how they are.
It's all right. That's how they are. It's like whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Now, if you are in
Mm-hmm.
any of this, if you're the youngest, no bad point intended. We love everybody. We love all the birth orders because having siblings is a wonderful thing in this life. There's many life lessons that we learn from each one. If you're the only child, there's life lessons that you learn from your parents. If you're oldest, you also learn life lessons from your siblings. You learn to deal with different personalities. You learn to deal with characteristics that you're going to face in the real world. Then you learn
Yep.
also how to, with all your siblings, you learn how to be a unit, close you are. And then some siblings are not close, but you still have that bond when you were a child, right? That you
Yeah.
share their stories. There's things that you got into each other with. So in life,
Yeah.
you're with your siblings, and the lesson is to learn that at the end of the day, you guys do not have. I think that's one thing I would say in this life lessons and now knowing birth order and all that is that
Yeah.
it's okay that you guys not all have the same characteristic personalities,
True.
and you're not going to get the same discipline and the same attention from your parents. Because once you
Yeah.
realize that, first generation, I'm helping y'all out. Anybody listening to this, that you don't stop getting frustrated because you think it's not fair. It's not going to be fair. It's never going to be fair. So just stop it.
Nope.
Life
Yeah.
lesson. There's
Yep.
freebie for you. Just stop it. The youngest is
Yeah.
going to be the youngest. The middle
Yep.
child is going to be the middle child. The oldest is going to be the oldest. Your parents don't give a F. They're going to continue till I don't know what. It's going to continue to be
But the
that way.
reality is also too that I think the parents don't realize they're doing that either.
Exactly.
The parents don't realize that they're treating each child differently. They don't realize that.
Because
Yeah.
in their
Let
mind, they
them
think
tell
that
it.
they're treated, yeah,
Yeah.
they think that they're treating everyone the same. But I think, like how you said it, by the time, and let's be realistic, by the time let's say you have 5, 6 children, and let's say you have these children because it takes almost a year to have a child. So you have a kid, uh, let's say every year for the next 6 years, you have a child. From the first child to the last is 6 years, right? From the
Yeah.
5 years, 4 years, it
hmm
gets shorter. You mean to tell me, so from the 6 year old and 1 year old, you think that 6 year old is not helping kind of be, I don't want to say a mother figure, but a parental in that child. They're
Yeah.
helping you
Heck
probably
yeah.
feed the baby. They're
Hell yeah.
probably helping
Yes.
you raise. You're not raised in a sense
Yes.
like you take on that personality
Yeah.
of taking care of your younger sibling. So that's another thing too. Like the parents,
Yep.
you do use your kid to help you with your other
Yep.
children. It's not like your first child, you ain't had nobody. Now you're like, oh, go get the baby. Oh, the baby
Yep.
crying. What's your brother and what's your brother doing over there? Why they crying? So if you're the oldest and y'all in a room
You're
together
the
and your
third
parents hear
adult.
crying, if the parents hear crying, they ain't calling the youngest one. They're calling
No,
you,
they're calling
and
the
they be
old.
like,
Yep.
what is
Yep.
happening? Why are you not taking care of it? Why so and so crying? If you don't stop it,
They're the
I'm gonna make
supervisor.
everybody.
They're the supervisor of the organization. You realize that, right? They're the
Yes.
supervisor. They're the manager. I don't know if they're the manager. The parents are the manager. So, or the
The
CEO,
parents are
but
the
they the next
director.
one.
Yeah. Yep.
They're the director. They are definitely the director. And they got a VIP pass in life. I tell you, parents have perfected the parenting game by the time the youngest one comes along. So they
Yep.
perfected it. So it's easy going and it's okay and whatever.
Yeah.
But that first one, yo, they catch hell. I
Yeah.
don't care what you tell me. We catch hell. Because both of us are firstborn.
Yes.
We catch hell. I don't
Yeah,
care
we
what
do.
anybody says.
We do.
We
And then the
definitely do.
youngest
Yep.
one, they're able to take risk and know that
Yeah.
they have a safe. So even they might not, they have a safety net. Even if it's not their
Yeah.
parents, but it's their siblings. You know what I
Oh
mean? As
yeah.
the
Yeah.
youngest,
Yeah.
you don't really have to be like the oldest. You depend somehow on your parents, right? Their approval and stuff like that. The youngest, depending on how young you are, you have layers before you even get to your parents if you have a crisis. Do
Exactly.
let's be very
You don't
honest.
go to
You
your
do.
parents. You go to your
You
siblings. You go to your
especially
siblings.
if y'all like 4, 5, 6. Look, sometimes your parents don't even know because your sibling done
They
helped you
don't
out
know.
and did
Yep.
everything for you. Now, if it's lesser than that, then yes, you maybe if you pass 3, 4, and you are your parents don't have the thing you done
Mm-mm.
did, have the thing your oldest siblings didn't help you out of. Look,
Yep.
I hear it now.
Exactly.
Let's not bailing you out because you're a risk taker, the youngest. You
Yes.
carefree, you risk taker. You're like, oh, woo, let
Yes.
me
They
tell
are risk takers, yo. I be like, yo,
you. Yo,
uh,
they just
I
be
be like,
out
yo,
here.
let me know how that work out. Let me know how that should work out.
Look, but I
Mm.
feel like they get the, like you said, that being the youngest, they get the best of both worlds. They get the best
They
of
do.
being
They
able
do.
to be young, being able to take the risk, being
Mhm.
able to just have a VIP life. Again,
Mhm.
depending on, and we're not saying it's true from every for every family. Even if your family
Mhm.
in life, we I understand that some family struggles, but even in
Mhm.
that struggle, understand because you have older siblings, you may feel the struggle, you don't feel it as much as the oldest.
No, you don't. You'll never feel it like an oldest.
You
You'll
understand what I'm
never.
saying? Like
You'll
you
never
just
feel it. Yeah.
there's a sense you may feel trauma, you may feel hurt. I'm not taking out of those
Mhm.
life lessons. If you're a struggling
Yeah,
family,
you do. Yeah.
you feel it. You gonna feel pain. You gonna feel hurt. You gonna, but the sting. By the time it
Mhm.
gets to you, it's the
Mm-mm.
difference.
Yes. We
Yeah,
just whew,
the
girl.
youngest is they're the cherry on top. But we love we love every single one of them. And the life lesson is to allow you to be you. Recognize that at the end of the day, you are who
Mhm.
you are. If you're the
Yeah.
youngest child, just know, don't try to fight it. You are who you are.
Mhm.
You know you're gonna be spoiled rotten. You know, just accept your truth. Just
Yes.
accept.
That's it. That's
Just
it.
accept
And
it. Like,
that's the
yo,
thing. They don't even see that they're spoiled rotten. They don't even
no.
see it. They don't see it. They don't realize it. They don't, man, y'all are spoiled rotten. If you listen, look, PSA announcement, anybody who is the last child, you are spoiled rotten. If ain't nobody ever tell you, here, us at Unfiltered Limin are here to tell you, you're spoiled rotten. Rotten, let me tell you.
Rotten
Rotten.
from the core. And the funny thing
The
about it is,
core.
if you ask your older siblings, because again, I have again my nieces and nephew, they talk about that, and these kids are not even 18 yet, 19, 20, or
Hmm.
whatever, and they talk about how when they were younger, the two oldest ones talk about how strict certain things were, and now they're looking at their younger one. It's like, we could not get away with that. We could not get away with this. Blah blah. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
how they
telling
get
you.
away with half the shit that they get away with. I be like,
Yes.
hold up. I ain't get away with that.
Mhm.
Shoo. That's all right. But
Yeah.
we listen, us older ones, we'll put them in a chokehold though and tell them, don't be a tattletailer. I
Yes.
hem your ass up real quick.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
that's about all that we have for the bird order. If you have any wonderful, funny characteristic that we missed that you would like to share, please comment, share with us so that way we can add it to our list because we would love to hear if we've missed any, if there's any life
Hmm.
lessons within your birth order that you would like to share. I can't really speak too much on the lonely child. Do
They're
know,
definitely loners.
yeah, they're a little bit of loners. They try to, but I do know that they do try to hold on to people and friends that are in their city
Yeah.
because of that. They trying to build
Hmm.
relationship. But if you were a only child, only child, only child, only child,
Lonely. Sometimes only child's a lonely child. Sometimes.
yeah, let us know how that worked out because you could be one of those that you love being the only child because you didn't have to
Yeah,
share with anybody. You have friends that they
that's
share with
true.
their
They don't
sibling.
like to share. That's the thing about an only child. They don't like to share, yo.
Well, not. I don't
They
think
don't
they don't
like to
like to
share.
share. They never had the experience to have to share.
So
How do you not like something you've never had to do?
when they get older and they get into a relationship and then they be like, oh, what? I got to share something? Yeah, you got to share, mother. Sucker?
But I'm saying
I
they
have
didn't.
seen it.
Yeah, but I'm saying how do you want them to learn that when they didn't have siblings to learn it?
So what we supposed to do? Give them a pass as an
I'm
adult?
not. I'm just
You
asking
in a
a question.
relationship.
I'm just asking a question, the Lightning Crew. How do you
You
learn
in a
something that you don't
relationship.
have?
You in a relationship now. You gonna learn. You gonna learn today. You gonna learn today. Sure.
But I do think if you have family, if you have like cousins and relatives, I think you could learn from kids your own age. Like there's kids that are only child and they have brothers and sisters that are their cousins, stuff like that, and they learn from that. So there's ways. I think depends on how their parents acclimate them to other people their age to be able to give them
That's
the
true.
opportunity. So I agree with you to some degree.
Yeah,
They
but for the
are, but
ones
at the
that are not, because
it's
I
gonna
have
be hard when.
encountered one or two.
Oh Lord. So life lesson that Lisa is saying is if you're an only child, it's gonna be tough for you to be in a relationship if you don't like to share. And this week's
Okay.
episode or 3 tips for you is number one, appreciate the unique qualities that each siblings bring to the family.
Hmm. Communicate openly and honestly with your siblings. If
That's a
not, I'll
good
put you in
one.
a chokehold. Yeah,
And third, cherish the bond you share with your siblings if you can.
at least try.
At least try. Thank you.
And if you have more tips that you want to contribute to this episode, drop them in the comments below and we will share your tips with all the rest of the D Lyman crew.
Well, that's a wrap on Birth Order, folks, Caribbean style. Tune in next time for more laughs and cultural insights on Unfiltered Liming. Stay breezy, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Unfiltered Liming podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insight. Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you can catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh, exciting content. And if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss or a story you'd like us to share, please reach out to us. Join us again next Thursday for another unfiltered conversation about the rich diversity and complexity of the Caribbean American experience. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep celebrating the unique cultural heritage that make us who we are. Unfiltered Liming is edited and produced by Unfiltered Liming.